thank you all for coming today. I actually was a little bit nervous that no one was going to come and participate today, so it's great to see such a big crowd. So I wanted to spend some time with you kind of doing an overview about some changes here at the high school. I'm going to talk a little bit about why, because I know that when I face change, it's helpful for me to have a clear understanding of why things are happening. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to share the changes, and then I actually want to have an opportunity to open it up for questions, because I'm sure you want to have a chance to ask me some questions that maybe you've been talking about with your friends or with your parents at home. As a district, we've been spending really more money than we have, and so each school was really challenged to look at where could we make some savings, and then as the district, they were looking overall at how we could make savings. And so at the school level, we really took a look at our schedule as a place that we could look at making some changes to impact this overall deficit that we have been facing. And so our schedule, when we moved from our trimester schedule to this 8-period schedule that we're on, allows you guys to take 32 credits. And 27 is the number of credits you need to graduate. And so it's really good in some cases for you because it gives you opportunities, it gives you choices, even above and beyond the requirements that you need to graduate. And so we had basically what I call a 10-class cushion in our schedule, which anytime you offer classes, it requires staff to be able to fund and run those classes. So when we started looking as a school as where we could make some adjustments, we looked at our schedule because we had a lot of room in our schedule that was costing us extra dollars in terms of staff. And so we looked at making a change from an 8-period schedule to a 7-period schedule that still provides you the choice that you want, that you enjoy, but also allows you to meet graduation requirements and still gives you some cushion in case we have students transfer in or you fail a class and you need to recover credit in some fashion. And so what basically we're left with is a 7-period schedule that requires 50-minute classes on a Tuesday through Friday. So that's a lot less time than you have now. What I will say is that in a 2-day time frame, one of your classes meets for 85 minutes. In this new schedule, it'll actually increase the amount of instructional time you have per class because over 2 days on this schedule, you will have 100 minutes. So it's more time that you will have, it's just organized differently. And so we have some work to do as a school about how do we manage that change, because it's going to feel different. Okay, the classes aren't as long, but over the 2 days, which is what ours is equivalent to now in 1 period, it's actually more instructional time for you. So our staff, I'm responsible for leading our staff through some activities this spring to help you all and help them kind of manage this shift, okay? The other thing that's related to this schedule that I want you to know is that we're going to have to do some work this spring about how do we help you guys come back in the fall and have a manageable homework load. Our teachers can't, all pile on 7 classes of homework for you without putting any thought into the classes that you take. So it's really important for us that we help manage this change, and that's kind of the work ahead of us, is really thinking about what kind of a system can we put in place so that what you're doing now, where you kind of balance, some nights you have this homework, sometimes you have another class, we're going to try to create that same situation for you in this new schedule. So just to kind of go through the nuts and bolts of it, on Tuesday through Friday, classes are 50 minutes. Your lunch is the same as it is now. That's 45 minutes. Start and end time are the same, 8:15 to 3:20. So we try to keep that at least consistent. to what you're experiencing now. Monday is our early release day, and so we'll still have that the same as we do this year. Notice that start and end time is the same as well. And so the only difference between the Monday schedule and the Tuesday through Friday schedule is that we're going to try to maintain an advisory period just on Mondays. And the reason for that is we do a lot of things within our school that require our teachers to kind of take responsibility for a group of kids. And our staff has really talked about the importance of that they really find that giving you another connection beyond the teachers that you have for your classes and beyond your counselor is critical. And so they wanted to maintain that opportunity to develop a long-standing relationship with you and you with them. And so on Mondays is an opportunity for us to start the week by doing that check-in. The other thing is, as you know, we do a lot of activities that require you to do something with your advisor, whether it's college and career planning activities, testing. We try to do our testing through advisory. So maintaining that kind of core group homeroom type structure was important to our staff. And so since Monday's a little bit different anyway, we chose to put it on Mondays as opposed to in the Tuesday through Friday schedule. So our current graduation requirements is 27, and if you take 7 credits that you can earn over a year's time times 4 years, that's 28. So it gives us a 1 credit cushion. I will say that we expect all students to carry a full load, and so I think the requirement is the same for athletics. We just verified that yesterday, and the number of classes that a student has to carry in order to be considered full-time is 5 of the 7, which we offer for seniors who are on track to graduate, some juniors who are on track to graduate. My plan in working with staff this semester is really to create something that's really a concrete schedule. I'd like some time to work with them, but my thoughts at this point are thinking about maybe selecting certain days of the week that certain classes assign homework. And so it's something that I can come back to and make sure that we're doing for students as opposed to making it very random. So creating a set schedule, for example, we can say that math and science classes homework evenings are on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Social studies and English are on Tuesday, Thursday. Whether that will work or not, I still need to work with staff on, but something similar to that so that you know what to expect, parents know what to expect, and so that I can monitor it. The whole thing about classes and programs also came as a result of a funding situation. And so our school was faced with having to make some reductions of staff. Not just our school, but schools across the district were asked to look at that. And so when I have to make decisions like that, I typically look for places where you have interest and where you don't. And our elective classes, we have more flexibility than in our cores. However, we made some changes this year in English. We had a teacher retire, and so I was able to find ways to make sure that we had enough English classes for you to meet graduation requirements without having to rehire. So always look for places where there's natural, what we call attrition. Naturally people are going, but our elective places, especially when you take a schedule that had 5 credits cushion down to 1, what are you guys going to take less of? Electives. And so when I have to make decisions about which electives do I need to reduce or cut, I look for classes and programs where you're not showing a lot of interest, and not just from year to year, but trends over time. And so these are the classes that over time typically haven't been is what we call as making. So we need 15 kids in a class to make a class. And so these have been areas where there's been challenges. We might make one section of them, but not as many as other requests. So on this list, you see a lot of computer and technology classes. And for whatever reason, those classes don't seem to draw a lot of interest from the student body. The one on here that's not true is Culinary Arts. That one draws a lot of interest. So that one's the one that's unique on this list. And this is the one for me that's been a struggle. Those of you who have been taking Culinary Arts probably know. We've kind of been up and down in terms of trying to find a highly qualified teacher in that program. We've been able to get by. Last year, we were able to hire someone who had a lot of experience in our community in cooking. We were able this year to find some substitutes to come in and help us out. But it's been really a challenge to get someone who's certified in that area to be a teacher there. And so when I'm sitting here trying to make decisions about where to make adjustments to our schedule, it's challenging for me to, think about taking another program away when this one in itself has been a struggle to get a highly qualified teacher for. So this is one that's really difficult for me, difficult for you. It may be something that in the future we can look at, but right now that program doesn't have a highly qualified teacher for it. I will say that ProStart is a little different than Culinary Arts, and they can be separate from one another. So I am going to try to continue to offer some ProStart. I don't know exactly what that will look like, if it'll be a period in the day or something after school. I've got some meetings set up to do some kind of further discussion about that. What I'll say is this, is when you guys sign up for your courses, we ask you, what are your courses, core courses that you need? That's what your sheet looks like. What are your elective options that you'd like to take? And then we ask you to give us alternate selections, okay? We're going to be using your alternate selections to make adjustments to your course request if you had these as a primary course request. Within the CTE realm, the one class here that I would say is, well, there's a couple of them that are technology-based that can still count for career and tech ed. We have yearbook, we have newspaper, those still remain. We have all of our classes within our ag program, and Ms. Steinken's done a lot of work at revising some of the opportunities there. So anything within the ag program or classes taught by Ms. Steinken. Our woodshop program remains. Our welding program remains. We have a business marketing and work experience program that also falls under career and tech ed. I am going to look for opportunities for you to still take courses in these types of fields, maybe just not taught by our teacher. For example, I don't know how many of you are familiar, we have a e-school. It's an online school that's not in our district, but it's a part of our region. Mr. Loki, some of you guys may remember him. He was a teacher here. He's actually the director. So he and I have been in conversation about some computers, some pre-engineering classes that he offers in his school. And so I may be able to bring those to you without costing us necessarily a teacher on staff, but you still have the opportunity, if that's what you want to do, to engage with that. We're also developing stronger partnerships with our community colleges, with Southwest Colorado Community College, San Juan Community College. There's a trip planned, I think, later this week to get students interested in some of those fields. So I'm looking for other ways to bring you these classes, even if it means that you have to do that virtually, or you have to do a concurrent enrollment type class where you leave and you go to a college to attend that class. And what that does for you is it gives you not only high school credit, but also college credit. The dovetail with the schedule conversation is that our schedule that we're going to have next year actually allows for more concurrent enrollment opportunities than our kind of red-white schedule did. We can work on finding ways for you to have opportunities here to do that, especially if it's computer-based. And mostly those would be conversations that are more kind of individualized. We can work on your schedule along with kind of what classes you're interested in taking. These are all the classes that will be cut for next year, and all the decisions are final at this point. So there won't be any additional classes that I'm going to be adding to this list. And I'm going to say one caveat there. We always run classes based on your requests. So for instance, if students say, we have sociology, for example, as a course offering, and 5 students request it, then most likely that class is not going to it's not going to run. That's a different situation. These are actually being cut due to staffing and program changes. So there will be some classes that maybe you asked for that won't make just because of numbers of students, but these are program cuts, okay? All right, any last minute questions, or if you have any questions for me that come up as a result, please come by. You can email me, that's a great way to communicate with me, or you can try to catch me in the halls.
Awesome.
Thanks you guys, thanks for coming, appreciate it. Have a great day.